Welcome back everybody to me doing a tag video again and again and again. Yes, it's right, I said I will probably never do another tag video, but I got tagged by Angela from Do Unicorns Read to do the Build Your Own Warband tag. And then I recorded it, and apparently something went wrong with the audio. So I re-recorded it, and guess what? It went wrong again. Yeah, I don't know. So this is the third attempt to actually get this whole thing done. So let's see if it works. Cheers. Alright, so the first thing is that I'm really not good with tags, and I'm really not good with, like, this kind of tags. Because, I don't know, I'm really bad with, like, building lists or figuring out who's stronger than whom and all that stuff. It's just never really interested me. So, I've been trying real hard to make this work, so we will see. It is kind of difficult to do that kind of thing. So I figured I'll give it a shot. So I need a leader for my warband. And as I've learned, a leader is the one who says charge, and that's about it. In this case, I'll pick Sir Samuel Vimes, the Duke of Ankh, because not only does he say charge sometimes, he even has the actual King of Ankh-Morpork as his captain, who does whatever he says. And that's the kind of leader you want on your side, because you get, like, people that follow him that can then make people follow them. And that's pretty good, I think. So that's sort of my leader. Now I need a champion. And see, the thing with champions is, champions fight in duels. And the important thing about a duel is not who strikes the first blow, but the one who actually is the last man standing. And there's one person who's been really good at surviving everything that the gods have thrown at them. And that is, of course, Cohen the Barbarian. He's 87 years old, and he's become really good at surviving. So I'm going to pick Cohen as my champion. And I need a counselor. And see, the thing with counselors is that you need to listen to them when they tell you something that you don't really want to hear, because otherwise, you can just do whatever you want to do anyway. So I need someone as a counselor who can give me good counsel and formulate it in a way that is very hard for me to ignore. And I think I found the right person for that. I think I'll take Granny Weatherwax as my counselor. I mean, she's also a very powerful witch, which helps a lot. I guess. So I need a wizard, or a sorcerer, or a magician, or a great wizard. And I think I found the right one. It's obviously Rincewind, because it says wizard on his hat, and he's called the Great Wizard. Not for nothing, I would say. And I'm going to take him as my wizard, and I'm very happy with that. Now we come to the fighters. We need a sword fighter, we need an axe wielder, and we need an archer. So let's look at the sword fighters. Like, sword fighters are kind of like dime a dozen, because everyone has a sword, I guess, even though no one really knows how to use a sword. So I figured I'll pick someone who has, you know, other weapons, other skills, and who thinks that the sword, even though he's famed for his sword, is not even his favorite weapon. It's just his second favorite weapon. His favorite weapon, so to speak, is a scythe. I think I'll just take death on my side. But he does have a very, very sharp sword, which, you know, helps. Now, who could I take as an axe wielder? See, it has to be a dwarf, right? It has to be a dwarf, because all axe wielders are dwarfs. Or the other way around, all dwarfs know how to use an axe. And I think I'll take Cheery Littlebottom, because she's got other qualities, and she knows how to use every axe-shaped tool that lies in her way, and she's not afraid to attack even golems, even mad golems. And I think that's a good qualification for an axe wielder. So I have to find an archer, and I think I found an archer. As an archer, I will take Sergeant Detritus, because he may not be very accurate, but when he hits something, it stays hit. And with his crossbow, he hits everything in like dozens of meters of radius, so accuracy is no longer a bit of a problem. And if I happen to be forced to, break open a city door or something, city gate or something, castle gates, or remove buildings, he's still my first choice for archer for that. So, yeah, I think Sergeant Detritus is my archer. Now I got an animal companion to find, and it's kind of tough to find an animal companion because animals are cool and all of that. But you want one that is really, really tough and hard to mess with. And I got exactly the right animal companion there. It's the Death of Rats, because in his own words, you don't mess with the rat. And who am I to disagree with an anthropomorphic skeleton of a rat? I'm not. So yeah, the Death of Rats is certainly my animal companion of choice, and I only have to find a wild card. And there's no card wilder than the luggage. It's my number one choice for trampling, ramming, eating, or otherwise harming everything. It also will make sure that we all have like clean underwear, which, is also not to be sneezed at. And with that, I have a warband, and I have proof that the only thing you'll ever have to read in your entire life is Discworld, because it really covers everything. Isn't that good? I think it's perfect. But yeah, I've heard there's heretics out there who don't believe that. Now, you're obviously wrong. You're objectively wrong. Discworld is the only thing you ever need to read. But in case you're still doubting and think I'm taking like an easy way out, I've got a backup plan. I've got a backup warband for you in case your world is not disc-shaped. So here's your warband. As a leader, I'll take someone who has thousands of years of experience, who has built armies, who has led armies all over the different shadows of the worlds. I'll take Benedict of Amber, from the Chronicles of Amber series by Roger Zelazny, which you should read. Well, Benedict is the best military commander in the ranks of the Sons of Amber and the Sons of Oberon of Amber. And he's got like thousands of years of experience, and he's actually honorable and a master tactician. That's pretty good. So I'm going to take him for a leader. I think that's a very good choice, right there. So I need a champion again, right? And I think as a champion this time around, I'll just take Conan of Cimmeria, because he's, he's a fighter. He doesn't back down from any sort of combat, and he's able to wield whatever weapon he finds, including table legs or probably human legs if they lie around. He's a very good champion, I think. And yeah, that's obviously Conan of Cimmeria from Robert E. Howard's Conan stories. We're not talking about the other Robert who wrote Conan stories. Not here anymore. All right. So, whom could I take for a counselor? Well, see, the thing with counselors is that if you don't want to listen to their counsel, you need to be able to, get away with, insulting them and stuff. And they should also know a lot of stuff. And I think I've found the correct one here. And that is certainly the Gossiper of the Gods, Ningoble of the Seven Eyes, from Fritz Leiber's Fafhrd and Grey Mouse's stories. Now, I could have taken Sheelba of the Eyeless Face, and they're very interesting as well, but they're kind of rude, and I prefer Ningoble's really well-taught and ridiculous stories to Sheelba's commands. So I'll just stick with Ningoble of the Seven Eyes as my counselor. Also, he's got like a cave that has portals to other worlds. That's pretty neat. He's not above fucking around with people by pretending to be Odin. That's pretty funny. I can certainly live with that. I think he's a very good counselor. So I guess it's time for me to find a magician. I've got just the right one there. It's a sorceress. It's a very powerful sorceress. I think my magician will be the lady from Glenn Cook's Black Company series. Because, hear me out, she's the most powerful sorceress of her time. She ruled an empire for centuries. She can take other sorcerers and just enslave them, turn them into taken that have to follow her commands. And when she does lose her magical powers, she does not give up. She just fights her way back and gets her magic powers back. She's, inventive, tenacious, a massive strategician as well. As I said, she ruled an empire for a long time. She's got all kinds of good qualities on her side, and I think that makes her my number one magician. Now, who could I take as a sword fighter? I guess I want the greatest in the world. And luckily, there's one who has that actually written on their business card. He's Hero Protagonist from Snow Crash by Neil Stevenson. And it says world's greatest sword fighter and last of the freelance hackers on his business card. And if that doesn't qualify him as, the world's greatest sword fighter, I don't know what does. So, Hero Protagonist would be my sword fighter. He also rides motorcycles in a very mean way, which is cool. And, yeah, go and read Snow Crash is what I'm saying here. So whom could I possibly pick as an Axeman in that strong a company? They'd have to be a real legend. And funnily enough, that's exactly whom I'll pick. I'll pick Druss, the legend, from the book Legend, and the Chronicles of Druss, the Legend, by David Gemmell. I mean, it says legend on, his name, so he has to be good, right? I think I'll stick with that one. Druss the Legend, from David Gemmell's books, and you should go and read those as well, because, they're really good, and more people should read David Gemmell. Let's look at an archer. Now, see, archers are kind of hard to find, but I think I found one that I personally do appreciate as an archer, because he's extremely accurate. He doesn't take his job lightly either, but he's willing to make the really hard shots when it counts. That's my choice of archer. Squint, from Deadhouse Gates by Stephen Erickson. Yes, there's tragic in all of that, but as a soldier you sometimes have to do these hard things. So that's my choice. Squint, from Deadhouse Gates. Which leaves us two more to fill. I would go first with the Animal Companion. There's only one that I want right now because, everyone can pick their Night Eyes or their Dire Wolves or whatever John Gwynne came up with. I don't know. I'll get my own dog there because I was thinking dragons and other things, and no, I'm a dog person. Deep in my heart, I'm a dog person, but I don't want, just any kind of dog. What about a hound? Who's one of the Valfather's own hounds that fell to earth during a hunt. And they can also talk. And they can turn into a ravenous, huge monster that slays just about everything that comes into its way. And they can go back up to the Valfather's realm. I think that sounds like a sweet deal. His only weakness is a continuous, ongoing feud with a cat. But then again, Gilf is a dog. Yes, I'm talking about Gilf, which is the dog in Gene Wolfe's The Wizard and the Knight, which you should go and read because they're fantastic. And yes, it's a huge dog that can talk and fly around, well, not technically fly around, but move to different worlds and turn into a monster that slays other monsters. Which leaves the wild card. And I figured for the wild card, I'll pick someone who can basically fulfill more or less all of the roles in this warband, except maybe the Animal Companion. And luckily enough, there is exactly one person that does fulfill all of these roles. You want him as a leader? Well, he led the charge up at Gallows Gap. You want him as a duelist? Well, he does fight some really mean duels from time to time with a sword, so can he be a champion. Can he be a counselor? Well, that's kind of tough, but I guess he's gained some wisdom over time. He's certainly a sorcerer. He's a master sorcerer and a dark lord, really. And he's a sword fighter. And, well, I guess he can use bow and arrow as well, and probably an axe as well if he has to. I'm obviously talking about Ringil of the Glades House Esciath from A Land Fit for Heroes by Richard K. Morgan, who is, well, a Dark Lord, commander of the Cold Legions, sword fighter and sorcerer, and all-around badass. So I definitely want him on my side. And he's also, kind of hard to control, so he's a wild card in that regard as well. I guess I'll take him for my wild card. And that means I have a serious warband for all of those whose world's not disc-shaped. Shame on you. I hope I did this correctly, and I hope you enjoyed this. It's time for me to tag people. There's not that many people I can tag because everyone and their talking or non-talking dog have already done this tag. But in case he hasn't yet, I'm gonna tag Liam from Liam's Lyceum, because I really want to see your warband, my friend. And I'm going to tag Iskar Jarak, because I want to see him maybe talk about books outside of Malazan. Or maybe he'll make an all Malazan warband, which will also be interesting. So, Iskar, you're tagged as well. Anyway, if you want to do the thing anyway, and I have forgotten you because I thought you had already done it, feel yourself tagged. And if you're not doing this kind of thing before, I don't know, tell me your warbands in the comments and all of this other stuff. Like, subscribe, be nice to me. I'll try to be nice to you, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.